being able to help people and to help myself, and learning so much about myself because of people, because people help you learn about yourself. They say and do things, you get pissed off and you think it's them. But if you really think about it, it's really been you all along, because you use the same shit on everyone else. So that's the weird thing about it. So today's Friday. It's Good Friday for me and not so Good Friday for you. We got a little exercise we're going to do today. It's very interesting. It's just going to help you understand the power of your mind and how your mind actually supplies the meanings to everything. And when you begin to understand that, then you can start to see the power that we all have. I'm coming from the church, and you don't have to believe in the church. You don't have to believe in the Bible. You have to believe anything. Not that it does exist or does not true or is true. It don't matter. But what matters is what is true. If it's true, it's true. And everything will measure back to itself. So one of the things that I find truly interesting, is what I built my thinking system from, is that if it is about me and I'm supplying the meaning everywhere I go, and I'm the creator of my own world, my own thinking, and my own mess, if I just stop doing what I used to do and do something different with better ingredients, you get something different. To me, that just makes good sense. Because, with the mindset that I have is that you're not broken, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just successfully creating and producing something that you're complaining about. And if I try to take the problem away from you, you say, get your hands off of my problem. Who will I be if you take it from me? So there's the weirdness to all this. And the reason why it's weird is because it's actually linked to people who raised you, loved you, took care of you. So then it's like you're following suit. It's almost like you're going back to I'm making up something right now. It's like you're the apple who fallen off the tree and trying to get back onto the tree, or you're going to grow up and be just like the tree you came from. And that's the weirdness of it all. So the rebels, the ones who rebel, the weird thing is, like yesterday we was talking about the guy who was, said, when he was a kid, he said, you're nothing, you'll amount to nothing, you'll be nothing. And so his whole life was trying to prove them wrong, which was still proving her right. Because nothing trying to prove to be something means you're still nothing trying to prove you're something, which you're still nothing. So when you go and you change the nothingness, then you can just be something. So there's a model that I picked up, and it's a very good model. Actually, it's in the Bible as well. It's called be, do, have. Be it, do it, you'll have it. A lot of people do it the other way. They try to have it, and then maybe they'll be it, and that's where the problem is. So it's inside you. If you look at yourself, when I was talking to Bijou just a little bit ago, and I said the key is really what it is that you're doing in your own mind, like your voice. Like I was in Greece I think it's last month, and this young man, he booked an appointment. Now he had written the office, and he's really scared, and the scaredness really does weird things to people, as you probably know very well. So here it is. He's so scared, and so he was a young man. Now he shared his story up front in public. He was a young man, and so his father and his mother are from Bosnia, and they saw a lot of killings and a lot of stuff, but they moved to Sweden, and he was born in Sweden. But they told him lots of horrible stories. Now, that's really a great thing to do for your children. It really is. Or tell them bad things about their birth. That's really going to help them. And complain a lot, So here it is. He heard all these stories and about how people were killed and all this stuff. And so, he's a good-looking, he's a big kid. Reminds me of my son. And he So he had low self-esteem. One of his horrible memories he shared is that, his mom and dad would fight, and dad would just take his stuff and leave, like he would never come back. And this little boy's hanging on his pocket, said, "Daddy, please don't leave." And so this was a major impact on this little boy's life. Now here he is, he's an adult man. He's 22, 23 years old. And so he's driven by this pain of being abandoned and the fear of being hurt. And so he works out with weights, and he's got a really buffed up kid. And then he pretends to be tough, but inside he's just a little bitty 4-year-old trying to hold on to daddy's pocket. And of course all the stories. And so then he strains his pec muscle, and all of a sudden he starts obsessing. That's what the deal is, obsessing about stuff, making up stuff in his head and scaring himself. And next thing you know, he's petrified. He can't even leave his home because now he can't work out. Now he can't protect himself. Now he doesn't have any muscle. Now he's trapped at home. All right, so this is his story. It's a true story. And then he found my videos. He started tapping. He said he started tapping out some of the scary parts. He's tapping all this stuff. And so I'm in Greece, and so he and his mother came to Greece. He booked to be in this seminar. He booked to have a session with me, and that was 2 days before the seminar, or 3 days before the seminar. And so I met him downstairs, and I brought him up to my room, and I'm seeing this kid walk up in front of me. His legs were just trembling. His head was down like this, and you could tell this boy was scared, terrified. So I bring him in the office, and I start doing the intake, and I started listening to his emotional strategy and all of the patterns that drove his life. And again, as I said before, all your problems start with relationships. Relationship with mom and dad. Relationship with yourself. And the stories mom and dad told, they carved out a world that's not safe. And he had to protect himself. And then, of course, it doesn't help watching mom and dad fight all the time. It doesn't help much. And then, of course, the kids always blame themselves. You didn't do it, but you felt like, if I only would have been a better son or a better mother, a better daughter, they won't fight. If I made better grades. You know that one, don't you? If you would just clean up and be perfect, maybe things won't happen. Well, this boy was no different. So we cleaned up, and I'm telling you, I know that Susie, it's not Susie. What's her name again? Anyway, she had a session with me. And when you have a session, 2-hour session, and we're drilling your unconscious, that means we're going in and we're changing bad memories. You don't remember much when you're done. You go, I just got here. Why do I have to leave? It's because it's so fast and so thorough, and I try to be as thorough as I can, but it's like some people, you got lots of stuff in there. So that's why you need to study and work on yourself. And so after that 2 hours, he had a session the next day. So he comes in, he got his head up, he's walking around, I said, "Hey, I want to apologize about yesterday. I was just a bit down." It's almost like he didn't realize he was changed. And his mom said, "You're so different today. I hope it doesn't come back when we go home." All right, so here it is, this kid. Now, some of his major things, he was shy, he couldn't talk to women, he thought he'd never have a wife, he'd never have a girlfriend, and all this stuff. And by the time Friday came, this guy was dancing in front, he was giving his testimonial without a quiver, and he was dancing with the girls, and he was a different man. And so the importance of all of this thing is one thing that I want to go back to. What are you doing in there? What are you doing in there? Because, see, the truth is, if you're successfully having, a migraine or a pain in your elbow, or you can't speak up, and you have proof that you can't speak up because of your childhood and you're so afraid to say anything, go back to those times, clean up. Because, see, when I said yesterday about jumping over the cliff jump is when you're in your pain. It's not too late. You can still clean up there. But if you clean up as you go along, because, see, this is what people do, and I'm sure you do it too. There's a concept, what we call, what you do before you do affects what you do. Now, I'm going to say it slower. It's what you do before you do affects what you do. Now, let me explain. So let's say, for example, you're going to go to a job interview. All right? So then, as you're driving towards a job interview, you remember all the bad job interviews you had. And you start saying nice, encouraging things. They won't like you. They'll never like you. You won't get the job, and you'll be picking up cans on the side of the road. And then when you get to the job interview, you're so so stressed out. You already know that you're going to get hired, and it won't even happen, and then you'll have to go pick up cans. So you're angsting yourself. You're messing yourself up because of your positive attitude. And you don't get the job. All right? It's like, Aaron, how you doing?
Hi.
You doing okay? Mm-hmm. That was easy, wasn't it? Kurt? Now, what they did is all just a natural response, right? They didn't think about it. They just automatically reached up and do it. They weren't even stressing out about it. They had no thoughts about it. But earlier today, after this break, somebody's going to go out in the hallway, and Jennifer says, do you know that Robert doesn't wash his hands, especially when he goes to the toilet? Do you know that Robert actually picks his nose and rubs it on his fingers? Do you know that Robert's hands are really nasty and dirty? I even saw him digging in the trash the other day, and he didn't even wash his hands. And then Robert comes in after the break and go, hey, Aaron. All right. Now, what was the difference? The difference was you were thinking.
Yeah.
You were thinking. You started making up stuff. You started rehearsing and thinking, oh, I remember the commercial. And I worked with a girl who had obsessive-compulsive about germs. And you know where it all came from? She watched a commercial on TV with toenails, and all these little germ monsters crawling out from under the toenails. And in her mind, she actually started seeing those things on doorknobs. Now, by the way, they're not really there, but she saw them there. So next thing you know, she can't touch doorknobs. And she got to be so good, she couldn't hardly touch anything because her great imagination. So again, what are you imagining? What are you saying? What are you playing inside your head that drives your crazy behavior? Where did you learn it from? Are you hearing stories that other people say? And by the way, here's the weird thing. You picked up some kind of an idea, and then you start looking for proof to support this idea. Now, sometimes you have to dig really hard. You got to do a right Google search on the internet. And you go, see, I knew it. You know, and there's always, by the way, the good thing about the internet, you can connect with other weird people.
Support your story.
To support your craziness, and of course there's lots of information out there. It's like the lady started having symptoms, and she knew there was something wrong with her. She went to the first doctor and said, oh, there's nothing wrong. And she goes, you're wrong. I don't believe you. So she went on the internet and started searching out and trying to find her diagnoses. And then she found this group of people who had similar, and she started creating this imaginary disease that she didn't have. And so they went and did test after test, and it's not there. She says, I know it's there. Because she created it inside there. And that's what most of your problems are today. They're just created. They're created by proofs and references. And so what I want to do today is I want to help you actually to decode how you do yourself in your relationships and your problems. Does this sound like something you're interested in?
Yes.
Okay. All right, another thing is I have a little exercise that I want to do with you. Now, here's the rules, all right? First of all, do not lick it. Do not smell it. Do not scratch it. Do not taste it. You got that? Everybody understand that? Let me say it one more time, but slower. Do not lick it. Do not smell it. Do not taste it, okay? And I'm going to show you the power of your mind and how it supplies meanings to everything. Sound like a fun little trick?
Yeah.